guys, Anthony back here with another SOTA Street Fighter figure review. This is the Round 3 Adon, or Adon, or Adon, however you pronounce it. That's this guy right here. I call him Adon. It may not be right, I don't know, but I go with Adon. Anyway, he stands, of course depending on how he's posed, but about 6.5 inches tall, so he's really good scale. And this is one of those figures that really is a good example of why the SOTA Street Fighter figures are so great. He's really the epitome of the figures overall. The sculpt is great, accessories are great, paint is great, really just a fantastic action figure overall. Here we have the Player 1 version, the blue and red variant, the purple and white, red and white, black and white, and the clear employee exclusive one. If you're not familiar with these are figures that were made for only the employees, but they never actually made it to them. So these are super hard to find. But luckily I knew somebody that had a set that he didn't need anymore, so I was able to add them to my collection to make it truly complete. So there he is. Again, this is the black and red version. All the variants have the same batch of accessories, but it's just a difference in paint. He's actually a really good variant though. He looks great in the red and black, I think. Really cool looking. Red and white, probably my least favorite. I don't particularly care for this outfit, but there he is. Their hair colors do change sometimes. This purple one, which is really more of a blue, it's just got a hint of purple in it. Like he's got the pinkish hair kind of, so aside from just the clothes, they do have the hair color difference as well sometimes. And then we have the blue and red version. And finally the Player 1 version, the more traditional look. As far as accessories go, this figure comes with obviously an alternate head. This is based on the earlier design of the figure. Unless I'm going crazy. For some reason I'm thinking this is from a different game, like a different franchise. I could be completely wrong, but I don't remember now. I'm having a total brain fart. So I'm sure some of you guys know better than I do. I'm thinking this is just from the earlier Street Fighter game, but I could be wrong. So if anybody wants to correct me, go ahead. I'm not going to look it up. So there it is. Anyway, that's the alternate head. It's got the spiky hair, pretty much the same little tassel thing, and similar design for the face, just no open mouth. I prefer this one obviously because it's the more iconic look for him, and it has the open mouth. He's got the two open hands, as you can see on him right now. Great detail in the paint and sculpt. Really just nicely done. Then he has two fist hands. Of course, how could he not have fist hands? And a thumb up hand, or a thumb down hand, or a thumb sideways hand. However you prefer to orient that. So those are the accessories. As far as the paint goes, this guy's got one of the best paint jobs out of all the figures. He's got great airbrush shading throughout the musculature. The face paint, as I already showed you, is really phenomenal. The teeth, the eyes, really ahead of its time for action figures. And even still, at least up there with the best of them, if not ahead of them. I would argue that possibly. The only real side effect of having this paint job is the yellow. Side effect's not really the right word, but the yellow V on the shorts is not really the same color as the rest of the yellow, and it's kind of see-through. You can see the blue peeking through here and there, but the yellow at the bottom of the trunks and at the top is a darker, better looking yellow, and it has some nice shading on there. And they painted the tag on the shorts, so that's nice. The red and blue bands on his arms are painted well. The headband, some shading through that, shading throughout the hair. Really just a great figure. The sculpt on the shorts is really nice, and the ankle wraps, same thing as the hands. Just really, really well done. The only thing I don't care for on this figure is he's got long toenails. I don't know why, but they're far too long. I don't know why it's like that. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it does. I just don't care for that, but really that's not a big issue. Articulation wise, the head is on a ball peg, so full range of motion there. Ball disc shoulders. And thanks to the way the shoulders are oriented a little bit forward, you can really get some good poses out of him. The range of motion is pretty good. You can't go as high up as you normally might because of this muscle right here, and you can't go back as far because the back kind of does curve around a little more than most figures. But you still get a really good range of motion. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, which is really nice for this guy. Wrist swivel, wrist pivot, really good ab crunch. You can go all the way down. Doesn't look bad from the back. You can go pretty far back as well. Of course, he doesn't have any extra muscles on there because that would look probably more weird than the more plain look. but either way, he does go really far back, and it doesn't look bad. He's got a waist twist, which is probably stuck. There we go, waist twist, ball disc hips, T-jointed hips. Kind of limited due to the short sculpting. You know, you can't go too far forward or to the side, but it's definitely good enough, I think, especially if you rotate his legs. But maybe a little bit better would have been good, but what are you going to do? Double jointed knees. He does have an ankle swivel right there, ankle pivot, foot swivel, and a toe joint. And the joints are tight enough on this guy typically that you can actually pose him standing on his toes, and he will balance as long as you take the time to do it right. You won't have too much trouble. So that's definitely a sign of good articulation and good design. Again, this guy is just one of the best, I think, SOTA Street Fighter figures. The sculpt, the overall look of the figure, just everything about it is pretty much top notch. So if you aren't sure about SOTA figures, this is definitely one of the ones that will probably win you over if you want to pick him up. And he's usually not too expensive. So if you're trying to get into the SOTA game, this is probably a good place to start. Same thing with Guile, but we'll get to him in another review. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the rest of the SOTA Street Fighter figure reviews. And in the meantime, keep collecting.